Yeah. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here from Daytona International Speedway as drivers slide out onto the racetrack here, the high banks of Daytona, for our amazing wheel-to-wheel racing league regular season finale. The regular season coming to a close here this evening, meaning that drivers, this is their last chance, their last opportunity to try to punch their ticket into our playoffs here this year. So that's going to make things very, very interesting. It's going to make things very tight for all these drivers to know that they got to try to put themselves into a winning situation potentially here this evening, or just trying to earn as many points as possible to lock themselves in to the next round of our playoffs. And right now, the playoffs are tight. The playoffs are very, very tight, and it's going to make things very interesting to see who can put themselves into that position to try and, race their way in, or put themselves into that position to lock their way in here today, as it's going to get very, very fun for a lot of these cats. As qualifying has come to a close, we will get ready to roll here in just a little bit. Is Jacob Cannon? What's good, Jacob? Jacob coming in says, what's up? What's up, Jacob? Hardy Design says, let's go, baby. Let's go, Hardy Designs. Let's go, baby. Let's get it. As here we go. We'll take a look here at our point standings. You see the drivers that are very, very close to making it in. Drivers that are unfortunately on the outside looking in, and then the drivers that are locked in. So you look at our top 10. Top 10, they have locked their way in to the playoffs. They don't have a care in the world about what happens here this evening, except for maybe trying to earn a little bit of bonus points to try to help them through our playoffs here this season. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at a driver like Keegan Huey, he's got a pretty solid gap between himself and that cut line. If you're Wyatt Mickelson, you're a little bit more nervous, though. You're in that 12th position, but if you have a bad day, you get knocked out of the race early. Jaden Porter stays alive and gets a solid finish. He could leapfrog Wyatt and potentially jump up and steal that 12th position away from that number 51 out there on the racetrack. So Wyatt's going to have to try to keep himself clean, try to earn as many points as possible, and try to race his way in. Even Ethan Greek, so there's a lot of points on the table here, and Greek looks like he could potentially slide up there as well. He's not really out of it, but it's going to be a long shot there for the number 3 run, and for Keegan Huey, he's just got to keep himself clean and out of trouble to try to put himself into a solid position here this evening. So that kind of sets the stage and makes things a very, very intense here for our regular season finale, as Hardy Design says, doing this one for a hometown driver that passed away racing this weekend, Ronnie Brewer. Oh man, that's a tough one right there, brother. Hearts and prayers go to Ronnie Brewer, his friends, family, and everyone else in the area, man. We never like to hear that. And 24-48 Aviation says 42 winning tonight. Calling it now, he says that the 42 ride is going to pick up the dub. Well, we're going to find out here in 80 laps. From now, 80 laps of racing action on the docket. We will have stage breaks here this evening, as well as I do believe stages are going to be lap 20 and lap number 40. So the completion of lap 20, the completion of lap 40, we will see these stages come to a close, and these drivers will get an opportunity to try to pick up the win, as you do see that 42 ride right there, ready to rumble, ready to roll here, trying to make claim and try to put himself up and into victory lane for Nick Jensen. But starting on the pole in the number 77 ride, it is Brian Underwood. To his outside in the 91 ride, it's Liam Carlson. Starting in position number 3, we see Zach Clater. To his outside, it is the Hardy Designs ride, the 19 of Jordan Fisher, who will start in position number 4. Starting in the 5th spot, it's Joe David. To his outside, the Dr. Pepper 97, it's Caleb Holloman. Starting in position number 7 in the Busch Latte, number 76, that is Zach Perry. To his outside, his teammate, as the 1776 Motorsports rides there in row number 4, it's Jason Bogart. Starting in the 9th position in the 3 right, that's Ethan Greek, one of our bubble drivers here for our playoffs. To the outside of him will be the 14 ride of Marquin Brewer. Then we see Benjamin Romano, Mike Coravu, Nick Biddy, Wyatt Mickelson. That's one of those drivers that's just inside the playoff cut line back there in about that 14th spot on the Speedway. Blair Saunders, James Jones, Jaden Porter, another one of our bubble drivers here this evening. Dylan Carrier out there on the racetrack, same with Nick Jensen, Ryan Haller, Caleb Sisk, Matthew Wood, Aiden Lucas, Noah Blackwell, Evan Stewart, Dustin Hardy, Keegan Huey. Jordan Hand, Grant Applegate, Caden Gargiulo, Brandon Eddington, and then we see Nathan Brookover bringing up the rear of the field. His 33 driver C. That green flag flying, and we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here this evening. Is out in front. It is that Pacers ride, the 77 of Brian Underwood. Underwood out in front, leading us down the back straightaways. All these drivers starting to build up that speed, that momentum, and the pushing and shoving is just getting started here this evening. Is everybody on their tippy toes, knowing that this is gonna be a crazy race under the lights here in Daytona. It is South Florida action here for a lot of great hard racing this evening, and we see our first yellow flag of the day in our opening lap. So the first yellow flag will come out as the 77 ride will lead lap number 1. Looks like a couple of drivers back here getting tied together. We do see Brandon Eddington potentially in there. We do see Noah Blackwell back there as well. Some pretty heavy damage on Blackwell's ride. Let's take a look back and see what happens. See what brings out our first yellow flag of the day. Is this what happened rather quickly? Take a look at the 18 ride. So Blackwell gets into the corner. Looks like he just gets a shove from the 1 and then gets very, very loose. The 1 in there, the 57 of Applegate gets into it, and 18 turned around, pointed the wrong direction, watches down the racetrack right there, and unfortunately, that will be our first caution flag in the opening lap here this evening. Let's see if we can get another look at it here. Is obviously this 18 ride getting a big shove here. Gets him very, very loose. See if we can get a look at it. See if we can get a good angle here. There we go. This may give us a good shot. Just heading into the corner, you kind of see them stack up in front of him. One car, that is the 23, Ryan Haller, down onto the apron. But as the 18 kind of gets checked up for the cars in front of him, the 1 ride doesn't get checked up soon enough. Unfortunately, ends up into his back bumper, and that's what kind of helps get him turned around. Bounces off the 38 ride of Keegan Huey. It was a very, very close call there for Keegan Huey, one of our bubble drivers here. Not locked into the playoffs, sitting in the 11th position. That could have definitely turned him up the racetrack and could have put him into the outside fence. Luckily enough, he is able to get that thing under control and keep it going. And unfortunately for the 18 ride, he'll be headed down pit road looking to get some extensive repairs, trying to get that car fixed up and back out there onto the speedway. As Tyler says, no, 42 is winning. The 42 is winning, he says. Okay, so we got a couple of our Nick Jensen fans in the stands. We do see Jensen down pit road here getting some work done to this 42 ride. So looking for some early fuel as Brandon Eddington down pit road. We do see Jensen rolling back out. Zach Claytor also down pit side of that 39. Noah Blackwell trying to get his 18 ride fixed up, and Jordan Hand after that contact also down pit road with Applegate, Evan Stewart, Keegan Huey, and Nathan Brookover all down pit road here, all making early pit stops here. Strategy out of the get-go here, even though we're only done 2 laps of racing action, really only 1 lap of green flag racing, and already it has been on a roll here. As oh look, black flag, yellow number 1. Oh no, I'm sure he'll blame the setup, he says Mr. Jimmy 6 times, says. And I can't agree with you on that one, Jimmy 6 times, but nonetheless, we will keep on battling here. We'll keep on duking it out in this one. And out in front, it's Brian Underwood. Underwood has the race lead. He'll look to try to keep these drivers back there at bay. Joe David there in second. Fisher up and into third with Zach Perry and Ethan Greek rounding out our top 5. Romano back there in 6th with Nick Biddy there in 7th. Liam Carlson, Mike Coravu, and then we see Caleb Holloman rounding out our top 10, all getting ready to duke it out here in this one as they're hoping to see some good green flag laps being laid down. This will definitely open up the window here to probably not having to make a pit stop here in the first stage, as we'll get to the completion of lap number 20. I mean, that's when we will see the caution flag come back out. Hopefully this is our only caution flag here in stage number 1, but we'll have to wait and see. Is there any other takers head down pit road? We do see Brandon Eddington also coming back down pit road here. So Eddington and his Dr. Pepper ride heads back down pit side, making sure he's got some tires and fuel, I guess, onto this car. Tires seem a little bit early on to be putting on the car, but nonetheless, going to get fuel, going to get tires, and going to get ready to roll back out there onto the racetrack, and we'll get ready to keep on battling here this evening. As that 77 of Brian Underwood has the race lead. He's looking to see this green flag fly once again, hoping to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay. It's no easy task at a racetrack like Daytona International Speedway, as it is a tough track to, not only just survive, but to finish and get a solid run out there on the speedway. And obviously with lots of banking, lots of action, the door-to-door, the bumper-to-bumper. It's like, it's like downtown LA on a Friday night, man. It is absolutely log-jammed here for a majority of these races, especially once we start to see the finishes here at Daytona. They can get absolutely wild. They get absolutely crazy out there. Everyone giving everything they can, try to advance, whether it's one position, 5 positions, or maybe try to even just pick up a solid top 20, top 10, or trying to avoid some of the carnage that may happen around them. There's always something crazy happening late in these races, so you want to stick around, want to keep yourself entertained here this evening, because you never know when that big one may happen. You never know when it may strike. It could be at the front of the field, it could be mid-pack. You don't really know. But man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's a lot of cars out there, and that could be a lot of cautions, could be a lot of chaos here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Blackwell there at the back of the pack, but out in front, it's Brian Underwood down through the Geico restart zone, who will see that green flag fly once again here this evening at Daytona International Speedway. So Underwood quickly on the loud pedal. You can already see them starting to shuffle around. Drivers trying to find different lanes, trying to find some of their teammates or dancing partners out there on the racetrack. And as they continue to shuffle around, it's going to open up the door on the outside here for the 32 ride. That is Nick Biddy. Biddy already trying to get that outside lane a little bit more organized here, trying to navigate his way to the front, but here comes a big block out of that 77 of Brian Underwood. So Underwood goes for the big block down the back straightaway here, as he's looking to try to keep that 32 back there at bay, but Nick Biddy's got a little bit more help coming to his back bumper a little sooner than the 77 ride does. So he's got to hope that the 19 ride can catch up to him, give him a big shot here and help push him back out in front, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, as we do see the caution flag come back out. So the caution flag will fly here again. Another quick caution flag here this evening, and it looks like one of our bubble drivers, one of those drivers that were on the edge here of potentially locking their way into the playoffs, or potentially missing out. But it looks like Jaden Porter, one of the drivers that were hunting him down here for this playoff spot, going to get collected in this as well. So let's play this back here, see what happens, see who kind of gets started here first. It looks like right there. All right, let's play this back. Looks like the 14 ride. That is Marquin Brewer. Looks like he gets down low pretty tight here. I'm not sure who he gets into, but he definitely gets underneath. I'm not sure who's the 81. 81 is Jaden Browder. Okay, so Browder in the black 81, and they just kind of get log jammed right there. They start bouncing off of each other. You can kind of see that down the back straightaway. So big shot here for a couple of these drivers into the back bumper, and kind of just gets the 81 off the track, so he gets a big shot right there. Then the 51 gets a big shot, puts him back into the inside of the 81, and that's what kind of just starts to stack these guys up. And as this is all unfolding for the 51 of Wyatt Mickelson, it kind of shoves him down onto the apron here, and as he's onto the apron, he's just trying to keep this thing out of trouble, trying to keep this car pointed in the right direction. And man, oh man, oh man, it is easier said than done when you're at almost 200 miles an hour and you're down there on the flat part of the racetrack. And you see the 06 of Sisk and the 74 of Jaden Porter. They kind of get sandwiched in right there with the 81 ride for Porter, and unfortunately that's where we'll see Sisk go around the 74, kind of pushing him down the straightaway. There's the 51. He's finally going to lose control of that car, slides back up the track into the 74, who gets a piece of the wall, and we do see James Jones in there as well, getting a pretty good hit right head on into that 51 of Wyatt Mickelson, as a few drivers getting tore up early on here this evening, and it kind of just starts down low. A little bit of pushing and shoving early on as things kind of get stacked up. They get a little log jammed, and all of a sudden that's how quickly the cookie crumbles here at Daytona International Speedway. A lot of tore up race cars right there. A lot of drivers just kind of really nowhere for them to go. Heavy hits here for the 51 ride of Mickelson. Heavy hit for the 74 ride here as well, up into the outside fence, and everyone just trying to scatter and find their way through without getting too much damage. But, man, there's going to be a lot of drivers down pit side getting some extensive repairs done to their race cars. We do see Clater back down pit road here. He's getting his car worked on. We do see a few others trying to roll back out. There's Keegan Huey. We see Brandon Ennington back out there onto the track. Wyatt Mickelson still down pit road here. Mickelson still getting his Caterpillar ride worked on. Obviously, Noah Blackwell back down pit road as well, trying to still get his car repaired from the first wreck of the evening. But nonetheless, we'll get ready to set these drivers up. We'll get ready to try this all over again, go back to green flag racing, and hope to make it more than a lap here. See if we can make it more than a lap, get a couple laps in potentially, maybe get this moving a little quicker, but nonetheless, we'll keep you guys entertained as the racing action going to continue on here this evening. Is Biddy out in front here? He's already up 12 positions, making some big moves early on. Let's see if we can find him, see if he's in the Discord right now, see if we can pull him up here potentially for a little in-race interview. Where is Nick Biddy? If he's in here, we can pull him up. If not, we'll have to try to find somebody else. I don't feel like I see him in there. I do not see him in there, chat. Well, unfortunately, you can't pull him in, but let's see if we can pull one of these other drivers up and into the booth. Let's see if we can find another driver that's moving up and through the field here. Obviously, Matthew Wood, Aiden Lucas, they've been working their way up. Let's see if we can pull maybe Dustin Hardy. Yeah, Hardy's been working his way through the field here. Let's see if we can pull Dustin up here. See if we can pull old Dustin up quick. If he's in the Discord, okay, it does look like he's in there. All right, let's see if we can pull him up here. Hey, Dustin, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Yes, sir. How about you?
No, not too bad. Dustin, man, so far, pretty crazy race. A couple early caution flags, but you and your teammates trying to find each other out there on the racetrack, trying to work yourself towards the front of the field, man. How you feeling out there on the racetrack?
Oh, man, I'm just trying to take it easy till after the second stage and then see where we're at and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Long race. A lot of laps left to go, and you're just trying to keep yourself alive, trying to keep yourself out of trouble out there. Obviously, early on, it's been pretty crazy out there, man. You think that's going to continue on here this evening, or do you think we're going to see some good, hard green flag laps here in the future?
I think it's about to calm down a little bit from what they're talking about over the radio. So hopefully it'll calm down and we can get some green flag runs in.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can. Dustin, good luck out there. Have some fun, brother. Hopefully we'll see that beautiful 86 Pride back up here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. You keep doing a great job up there, man.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, there you go. You hear from the HBR number. 86 right there. Dustin Hardy is getting ready to see that green flag fly. He's back there at about the 17th position, trying to keep on moving forward here. We'll see what he can do as out in front. A great launch down through the Geico restart zone for the 32 and Nick Biddy. As Biddy sees that green flag fly, he's got Mike Goravu right there with him in the 19. Ryan says, thank you very much. The inside lane getting moving quick, and he jumps up into that third position. Unfortunately, not the best restart right there for Brian Underwood, as Underwood in that outside lane fall back quite quickly here, and now we're going to start to see everyone try to shuffle around, see if there's anyone from that inside lane that wants to jump up here, maybe use that outside groove and try to work their way up towards the front of the field. We'll have to wait and see if somebody takes that opportunity. Maybe we see one of those 1776 Motorsports rides right here want to jump up and slide in front of the 77, but it looks like things may be getting to that little bit more cool, calm, and collected. We heard from the 86 ride. They were talking over the microphones. They want to make things a little bit more easy here. They don't want to see as many caution flags, so they're trying to get these drivers a little bit more under control. Now that is, it's easy to say, it's easy to tell them, but it is not easy to control them out there on the racetrack. So it is going to be anyone's game here this evening, and we could see the chaos continue in an instant here at Daytona International Speedways. We see one driver, two drivers down on the double yellow line right there. Oh, baby, that was close to becoming another big wreck. And you see this three right at Ethan Greek all over the back bumper here of the Pacer 77 of Brian Underwood. Underwood, he wants to get back to the front here, but I'm sure he's getting a little bit nervous as that 3-ride's been pushing him virtually the entire way around this racetrack, and that can get your car very, very loose. It can really spin you around in a quick hurry, and there we go. We see one driver up into the outside wall. That is the 7 ride, I do believe, of Caden Gargiulo up and into the outside fence. Caution flag, back it onto the racetrack. Yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag is another caution here this evening. And look at the damage for that 7 machine. That was a big hit up and into the outside fence right there for Caden Gargiulo. We'll see who else may have gotten collected. You do see the 12 ride turned around right there, but let's see how this gets started. See how the party happens here as they were racing hard back here, man. That's what we talked about. We talked about how you can tell these drivers how to run and what to do. Unfortunately, you can't make them do it, and it's kind of how mistakes happen. Unfortunately, we're going to see how this one kind of unfolds right here. So it looks like the 91 ride gets checked up there a little bit. The 97 ride gets into the back end of him, and that's right there. That's where we're going to see this happen. So you watch the 97 ride here. That is the ride of Caleb Holloman. So watch Holloman. He's going to be all over the back bumper of the 91 coming out of the turn right here. So watch the Dr. Pepper ride into the back end of the 91 ride. Kind of has to check up because he gets into him hard, unfortunately, for the 41. Doesn't get checked up soon enough. He's getting shoved from the 7 to Caden Gargiulo. That puts Holloman up into the outside fence. And then the 37, unfortunately, on the back bumper of the 7 ride, not expecting him to shoot down the racetrack. And then back up over his nose, hooks him up into the outside fence. You see Jaden Porter, Ryan Haller, all getting a little contact into that one. Heavy hit there for the 97 and the 7 ride of Caden Gargiulo. And unfortunately, just aggressive pushing and beating and battling out there on the racetrack. That's how quickly things happen. You do see the 12 ride gonna get a little bit of contact there with the blinking 7 ride right there, and unfortunately some pretty solid contacts. He washed down the racetrack and down into the apron. So looks like Caden early on will be using that quick repair and getting his car fixed up, and now that's gonna be the big question mark for a lot of these drivers. Early on, if we do see a lot of big wrecks, we do see a lot of heavy hits and drivers having to use those quick repairs early in this race, you get tied up in another one, you have to use that quick repair again. It's no longer in your back pocket. So if you get tied up in multiple big wrecks out there on the speedway, your night can be over in a quick hurry. And when your night is done, you're down pit sign until it's over. There's no more fun, there's no more laps, there's no more anything. If you gotta sit down pit road for the next hour and a half before that car is even repaired and able to jump back out onto the speedway, as you do watch the 7 ride tag the outside fence there again, try to keep that thing out of the wall is no easy task here this evening. But for the 7 ride, if he gets tied up in another incident, even if it's no fault of his own, he's back there deeper in the field now. Something happens in front of him, he's got nowhere to go, a car parks on top of his nose, and that car gets destroyed. His night could be done just like that. Is Sim Racing Rim 24 says go 98, says the 98 is the GOAT, as Bones does. What's good, Bones? Bones says hello race fans. Hello, Bones, how are ya? And Anna Alessandro says come on Matthew, cheering on Mr. Wood here this evening as Matthew in that 16 ride taking the shortcut down the back straightaway here. We do see Dylan Carrier. That's who the 41 ride is. Okay, so the 41, that is Mr. Dylan Carrier out there on the speedway. Okay. Normally we see him in the 31 ride, not the 41 ride, throwing us through a little bit of a loop right there, but nonetheless, Dylan Carrier, Matthew Wood right there ready to try to crack their way inside the top 10 as we'll get ready to see that green flag fly here once again, as out in front it is Nick Biddy. Biddy continuing to lead the way. Mike Corvu there in second. Jordan Fisher in position number 3 with Joe David, Brian Underwood, the 9 ride of Benjamin Romano, the 3 of Ethan Greek, Zach Perry, Liam Carlson in the 91, and Jason Bogart back there rounding out our top 10. getting ready to see that green flag fly here once again, as we do see Jaden Porter now up and into about the 16th position here. So Jaden knew he had to come into this race, had to have a big run if he wanted to try to work his way into our playoffs here this season. So Jaden needs a big night, and he needs to have the 51 ride of Wyatt Mickelson to have a miserable evening here today. And unfortunately for Wyatt, looks like he is back on the lead lap, so that's a great break for Wyatt. So he's back on the lead lap, back into the action here, and unfortunately though, he is at the rear of the field. So for the 51 ride, even still with some damage on the front of this car, you take a look at it, it's missing that whole front left fender of that Caterpillar ride. He's hoping that he can maybe see a couple more yellows, maybe get this car repaired and back into the action. But right now, not looking very good for Wyatt Mickelson, and for a driver that came in with only 20 points above the cut line for our final playoff spot here this season. It's very much up and into the air. It's very much into the wind right now. You don't really know how this one may play out, whether or not he may finish this race, or we may see more issues for the 74 ride, or any of those drivers back there behind him. Is Jonathan Dean. Jonathan says Brewer is winning tonight. Cheering on Brewer out there on the racetrack. Brewers looked fairly strong out there. Brewers look pretty good. Let's take a look here. Whereabouts is Brewer rolling out there on the speedway now? I don't even see Brewer out there. There he is. There's Mark Wynn. There he is in that 14 ride. So the Dr. Pepper Burger King number 14 ready to rumble here. There's a lot of the Burger King rides back here deeper in the field. There's Mark Wynn Brewer in the 14 ride. We got the 42 of Nick Jensen in his Burger King ride. We got the 38 of Keegan Huey, the 12 of Brandon Eddington back there as well. And all these Burger King rides ready to roll, ready to rumble here once again, as here we go back to green flag racing as Nick Biddy sees that green flag fly once again. This time he has the 19 of Jordan Fisher on his back bumper. Fisher pushes him right out in front. A big lead here, as you do see the 46. He did drop down to the inside lane, but now elects to jump back out to the outside here. Big move right there for that 46 ride. I thought he would have been sticking right there with that 19 ride, trying to keep that inside lane a little bit more organized, as you see that 3 machine of Ethan Greek again shoving that 77 ride down the back straightaway. Luckily enough, Brian Underwood can hold a pretty wheel out there under power and under a push, and able to keep that car pointed in the right direction, as we see them storm down through corner number 3 and out of 4. Is look out, there goes our race leader! Oh, baby, Ethan Greek and more drivers down through the infield here. Oh, no, that is a heartbreaker for a bunch of these cats. That's a big hit right there for our race leader, and we do see the caution flag come back out. So another yellow flag, another restart come and gone here. Stage number 1 gonna end rather quickly here with all these yellow flags. Let's see if we can take another look at it, see where this caution flag came out, as we saw even more drivers get tied up afterwards, because it starts here at the front, and I'm not sure what happens to the 32 of Nick Biddy, if he gets a bad shove or what may have happened, but nonetheless, see if we can take a look at it. So Nick Biddy, where is Nick? There he is. All right, let's see if we can get another angle at this, get a good shot of it. So the 19 right of Fisher on his back bumper, shoving our race leader out in front. He just gets maybe a little bit loose right here. A little bit of a push coming out of that corner. In quarter 4, you can get that rear end very loose. And unfortunately, still on the back bumper. And the 32 just washes up towards the fence. He tries to save it. The car just overcorrects right there. He washes back down the racetrack. And this is where he meets up with Ethan Greek. Ethan nowhere to go. Car ends up on his lap. Look at Dylan Carrier just getting through there. Unfortunately for Aiden Lucas, his Burger King ride slides in there, gets some pretty heavy damage, and then we see all these other drivers 3-4 wide down across the start finish line, trying to fit their way through there and trying to stay out of it. Other drivers trying to roll out of it and not get collected. Kind of getting a little ran over right here. So let's take a look at it. There you go. You see the 97 pushing the 74 in there deep into it. Unfortunately, James Jones going to get a little piece of him there. Hooks that 74 ride down the track into the lap of Blair Saunders, and then also collects a few of these other drivers. See the 86 ride in there. That's Dustin Hardy and all these drivers. As Jones hard up into the wall. You see Jordan Hand slide into it. Big hit there for Hand getting into the 54 ride. And A lot of tore up race cars, a lot of tore up sheet metal out there on these speedways. Everyone's just trying to squeeze their way through it, trying to keep themselves out of the trouble. Here it comes, haulers storming down through the infield. A lot of drivers taking that lawn mowing route to keep themselves out of the carnage, and luckily enough for some of them, they were able to survive it. For others, not so lucky, as the yellow flag will fly here once again, and that will put us back under the yellow flag, and that will allow drivers to come back down pit road, as we do see the 41 of Dylan Carrier. He's back down pit side. We see Keegan Huey, Jensen, all these drivers coming down pit road. Pretty much everyone except for our top 15 coming down pit side right there, whether or not they're getting just fuel only or getting some tires or just looking to get their cars repaired. As there's a lot of drivers getting their cars repaired right now. 54, one of them. We see Nick Biddy down there. He's getting that car fixed up. We see the 51. He's back down pit road. So a lot of drivers trying to rebound from that wreck in the 4 wrecks that we've already had here this evening. So a bit of a caution fest, a bit of a wild one here for stage number 1. And that being said, we probably will see the stage end here under this caution flag. So stage should end under the yellow, as Bones does says 46 in second, just ahead of me, just ahead of you. Oh baby, the 46 of Koravu trying to squeeze his way through there, man. As yeah, that was definitely a tough one right there. And yeah, four yellow flags in a row. Definitely a rough start here this evening from Daytona International Speedway for all these drivers. A lot of these cats, especially the drivers that are on that bumble on whether or not they can make it into the playoffs or not here this evening. Obviously, not the way they wanted things to go here this evening. They wanted a cool sailing race. They wanted to keep themselves out of trouble. And unfortunately, early on here, we see a couple of those drivers that were right on the cut line. As let's take another look here at our point standings, knowing that the cut line is so close. So Keegan Huey, Wyatt Mickelson, they were above the cut line. Jaden Porter and Ethan Greek just below that cut line. Everyone else back has unfortunately been eliminated from the playoffs. But for Porter and Ethan Greek here this evening, super close. Now we do see some more drivers coming down pit road, as I do believe they're going to get an extended yellow flag here for the stage break. As yeah, unfortunately, we take a look back. We look at some of these wrecks. We've seen Keegan Huey at the back of the pack here trying to avoid those wrecks, trying to keep himself out of that carnage. We saw, obviously, the 74 ride and the 51 end up with some pretty solid damage. Still pretty heavy damage on the front end of that Caterpillar number 51 machine. For Wyatt Mickelson, definitely not a spot you want to be. For Jaden Porter, he's gotten tied up in a couple of them, but all the fenders are still on that 74 ride and still rolling nicely out there on the speedway. But he may have already used up that quick repair, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. If he gets tied up in another big one, gets severe damage, could be the end of his night and potentially the end of his playoff dreams here this evening. So we'll have to keep a close eye on Porter, Ethan Greek as well, who just got tied up in the other caution flag here. So Ethan, he is rolling back down pit side into his pit stall, still trying to get this car repaired and fixed back up, as he just got collected in the last one, as he was running really good there at the front of the field until that caution flag just got thrown. So he'll have to try to bounce back from that. He's going to be in the same hole now that we saw Keegan Huey and Mickelson, Jaden Porter, and now back deeper in the field. You just got to try to keep yourself out of trouble, as we had a little bit of a change of scenery here at the front of the field. Obviously some different pitch strategies for a lot of these drivers, and we do see Benjamin Romano now at the front of the field here in that Amazon Prime number 9 ride, as he has the race lead. Caleb Holloman to his outside. Caden Gargiulo there in third, with Caleb Sisk up into position number 4. Liam Carlson there in that 5th position, with Dustin Hardy, Nick Biddy, James Jones, Ryan Haller, and Jordan Hand rounding out our top 10, as we'll get them all ready to rumble here once again. We'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. Let's see if we can get Nick Biddy here. Let's see if he's in the Discord, if we can maybe pull him in. Obviously, he just got tied up in that last caution flag. You may not be very happy about it, but let's see if we can find him here and try to get him into the broadcast booth if he's in the Discord. I don't think we're going to get that lucky, though. I don't think we see him in there. No, we don't see him in there. So no interview for the 32 ride, unfortunately, unless if he puts that car up into the top 3 here this evening. But as of right now, he's not in there, so we cannot pull him up and into the booth. That's a heartbreaker for us, but nonetheless, we'll get ready to potentially go back to green flag racing. Looks like the lights are turned off, the official iRacing pace car, and it looks like potentially going to go to single file restarts here. So single file restarts here at Daytona International Speedway. Not very often that we have to see that come out, but we'll see how long these guys stay single file. I don't think we're going to see them single file for long. I feel we're going to see double file happen in a quick hurry. But so far we've ran more laps under yellow flag than under green flag here in stage number 1, which will come to a close as I do believe they're going to use either the last caution flag for our stage break there, and that will be the end of the stage for stage number 1. So we'll get them all ready to rumble, ready to roll here once again for, I'm assuming, stage number 2, unless we see the yellow flag come right back out as we complete lap number 20 here down across the line, as that is potentially going to happen. But we'll see how this plays out with the single file, with the stage break and everything else. As out in front, it's Benjamin Romano. Benjamin has the race lead, and he is looking to put that throttle down and trying to keep these drivers back there at bay. As we go to single file here, trying to clean things up, trying to get more green flag laps under our belt here this evening. It's all down to these drivers' discretion on what they do and how they maneuver here as the green flag about to fly. I don't think we're going to see single file for very long. I believe we will see doubled up in a quick hurry out there on the speedways. Here we go, back to green flag racing here this evening. Green flag back out into the air here at Daytona International Speedway as a big jump out of the 9 ride. This is a big launch, a big jump, already out to about a half a second lead, but they're going to close the gap on him here in a quick hurry. May have been almost too big of a lead, as he's going to be a lot slower than these drivers that have already been pushing and shoving. Has that bit of a draft already rolling down the back straightaway, and unfortunately they'll just jump right up to the outside and move right on around Benjamin Romano. So Romano will get past, he will slide back, and now we see them getting double file already. We saw it basically down into core number 1. They were already doubling up, and this is where things can get dangerous again. We've seen how this has played out, but it looks like we may complete a full lap here. So looks like the restart so far fairly successful as Caleb Sisk out in front. And Sam Hardy, Sam says, let's go Dustin. Cheering on Dustin out there on the racetrack, as you do see Dustin Hardy rolling right there in that 3rd position. We talked to him earlier in that 86 ride, talked about how he wanted this race to go a little bit more clean and green there, especially through that first stage, as he just wants to try to survive until that final stage and then start to move forward. But looks like he's going to go a little earlier. Looks like he's going to make that move right to the outside here, hoping to try to jump up and take this race lead away, as here comes Nick Biddy after getting turned, bringing that last caution flag out. He's already raced his way back up inside the top 10, so making some moves in the outside lane, and for the 32, able to navigate his way almost back up to the race lead here. So we'll have to see if Biddy can hang on to it this time and keep that 32 ride point in the right direction, or potentially cause another big wreck. And back there deeper in the field, you can see some teammates trying to get lined up. A lot of drivers starting to get stacked up here a little bit deeper in the pack. As we look back, we see the I'm going to call them the Burger King rides back here. There's a bunch of these Burger King rides virtually in this second pack, just trying to keep themselves out of trouble. Right now, they're being led by the 39 ride here of Zach Clater. So Clater, the 14 of Marquin Brewer, I do believe it's the 38 of Keegan Huey, the 34 of Aiden Lucas, the 42 of Nick Jensen. A lot of these Burger King rides deeper in the field, just trying to survive here this evening, trying to keep themselves out of trouble. You see quite a bit of damage on that 42 ride of Nick Jensen, as he'll look to try to just kind of stay in behind somebody. He'll push his teammates or someone towards the front of the field, hoping to survive the carnage here this evening. As this second pack, they're just kind of hanging out back here, hoping that if there is another big wreck, if there is carnage up here in this lead pack, that they can avoid it, and that is probably one of the safer bets to do. Keep yourself out of trouble, keep yourself a little deeper in the field here, and that's what these drivers back there are trying to accomplish. If we see another big wreck, if we see them get tore up here in the front of the field, they have time that they can get onto the binders, they can get checked up and avoid driving into all the carnage here. They know there will be another caution flag at the end of stage number 2, so there's really no reason to push here. If you're not racing for points and you're already locked into the playoffs, there's no real reason or rhyme to put yourself into a position where your night can get ended early on in the day. You know that there's still lots of laps, there's still lots of time, and now here we go. We see the 77 ride of Brian Underwood making the move down to the inside of the 9 of Benjamin Romano. Romano's gonna have no one go with him as the 77 now leaves that outside lane, jumps down to the inside, and now they're gonna push the 97 of Caleb Holloman out in front. So Holloman now has the race lead as Caden Gargiulo pushes that 97 ride right to the front of the field, and unfortunately for Brian Underwood, making that move from that middle lane down low, it may not have worked out too well for him, as now we do see Caleb sliding right down in front of him and taking that race lead away. So Caleb Holloman out in front, but here comes Caden Gargiulo in that 27 and Nathan Brookover, as Brookover in the Kodiak ride trying to work his way up here towards the front. A lot of drivers making their way through the field here. A lot of drivers working their way up to the front of the pack. When we look back at Caden Gargiulo, now making the move on the outside lane, but in that second spot, he's up 28 positions. Virtually start back in that 30th position. Now rolling in position number 2, the 27 ride right behind him of Nathan Brookover. Brookover started back in like 32nd here this evening, almost dead last. Has worked himself up and inside the top 5 here today as well. So there's a lot of drivers coming from deeper in the field here midway through this race up to the front of the pack, and now battling racing, trying to put themselves into maybe an area to gain some big points and maybe earn some stage wins here on the season. And maybe if they can stay up here, maybe if they can hold on to this race lead or just being inside the top 5 throughout the rest of the night, could put them into a position to potentially win this race later this evening. But you do see Brian Underwood able to slide up in front of Caden Gargiulo. Gargiulo will stay right to his back bumper here, even moving down through corner number 3 and 4, and it actually pushes them maybe out a little too far in front as the 2 lines back behind them. You see how quick these guys are. They may want to try to slide them back deeper into the field, so we'll see if they stick with them or if they maybe try to move up and around them here. We'll have to wait and see what the 97 ride decides to do. It looks like he will stay glued to the back bumper of that 7 ride, so the inside lane will stay there, but you see them all moving around. Now the 6 ride kind of gets chewed up and shuffled out. He slides to the outside lane. Now take a look at Dustin Hardy here, making a move down to the inside. He will jump up to the back bumper of his teammate here as he'll jump into about the, I do believe he's in about the 8th position right now, but now has his Hardy Designs teammate Jordan Fisher right there on his front bumper. So Jordan maybe feeling a little bit more confident as now they do actually have 3 teammates on that inside lane with the 54 ride of James Jones right there as well. So the Hardy Designs rides starting to work together, starting to find each other out there on the racetrack and hoping that they can use their muscle here late in this race to potentially jump up there and maybe snag a stage win, as we're going to see the stage come to a close here in about another 12 laps of racing action. Now, we do not want to see that stage break come back out. We do not want to see another caution flag, but it is bound to happen here. No matter what, we will see the yellow flag come out after the 40th lap of racing action here this evening as Brian Underwood continues to lead the way. Underwood out in front, Gargiulo sticking right there to his back bumper. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys have been enjoying the racing action here this evening, make sure you guys let us know. Drop a like on the stream right now. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the PeaceMaker family here today. Hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss it when we go live here on PeaceMaker Gaming. As Caden Gargiulo out in front has that race lead, but look out, the 91 says not today. He'll slide to the outside, and that shoves the the 7 machine down into the middle lane, and look how quickly he's going to fall back. Has a spot here on the outside lane. He can slide in behind the 46. Right, let's see if he jumps up there. He should be able to slide right in front of the 37 of Evan Stewart right there. Evan quickly gets his back bumper. Is still trying to work that outside lane again, but you did see the 91 of Liam Carlson get a big run right there. And that's going to put Carlson out in front. And now this is a dangerous moment here. We have the 23 rider, Ryan Haller, slower off the pace here. Has quite a bit of damage on this 23 ride. Just trying to keep on rolling. Just trying to keep himself in the action here this evening. And now here comes our lead pack. Steamrolling right on around him. And that's going to put him 3 wide here, middle of that pack. And that's where things can usually happen. Luckily enough, the 23 keeps himself up there against the outside fence. Allows this pack to go on by him. And they will keep it clean and green. No problems there, as Haller unfortunately does lose a lap. For Ethan Greek, he has lost a draft here as well. He could potentially go a lap down here in a little bit as well, as we do see this back of the pack though. This secondary group, they're kind of a little bit more single file. We see Applegate now to the outside lane as he's working that outside groove here, just probably trying to get some clean air under the hood of that car, hoping that it's not overheating or anything else for Mr. Applegate, as he'll look to try to keep on battling back. But you do see the 23 ride right there, unfortunately going to fall farther and farther back here. Tough day so far for that Columbia ride, as the 23 of Haller goes a lap down. He'll be looking to hopefully get a yellow flag. As of right now, he is in the lucky dog position. We did see Dylan Carrier, he's back out there onto the Speedway in the 41 ride. Unfortunately for Dylan, he did go a couple laps down. He took this car down pit side, and I'm not sure why he was down pit road for so long. Didn't look like he got too much damage out of any of those caution flags, but man, he has been able to keep himself right in the battle. But unfortunately, a couple laps down, you'll need a couple yellows and potential waiver rounds or lucky dogs to try to get himself back on a lead lap. And now we do see the 9 ride of Benjamin Romano. Romano does have to come down pit road here on lap number 32. Now for Romano, he was the only driver out there on the racetrack yet to make a pit stop here this evening. That's what gave him the race lead when we went back to green flag racing. I'm assuming that the 9 ride thought we were going to get a few more caution flags there after the end of stage number 1, but it seems like stage 2 here pretty cleaned up. And for the 9 ride, this is going to put him into a very bad position, as unfortunately he's going to be without the draft, and our race leader is going to be catching up to him in a quick hurry here, and could potentially put him a lap down out there on the racetrack as well. So not the spot you want to be, as we do see Dustin Hardy on that outside lane. He's able to jump up and lead that lap. So Hardy now out in front is the 98 of Blair Saunders, pushing him to the front of the field. There's Nick Biddy right there as well. Here comes the inside lane though. A big shove from the 19. This is Hardy's teammate in that 3rd spot on the racetrack. Well, now 2nd on that inside lane, the 19 ride. Jordan Fisher pushing them up to the front, as now we see them 3 wide down into corner number 3. This could be bad news. This could be dangerous. And there's the contact. Around goes Biddy. The 86 rider Hardy gets collected in it, and now more drivers in there as well. Look out, more hits here for the 76. Oh man, big hit right there, as the caution flag does come back out. So yellow flag back out onto the racetrack. A lot of drivers getting tore up again, and unfortunately for any of the Nick Biddy fans in the stands here this evening, that one may have ended Nick Biddy's opportunity here, as I do believe he had already used that quick repair potentially from that first wreck. We'll have to wait and see if he's got one still in his back pocket, or he may be heavily damaged here and may have to spend an extended period of time down pit road. But let's take a look at it, as right here down the back straightaway, we're going to see Nick Biddy decides right here out of corner number 2. He's going to jump to the inside of this number 98 ride, and that's what's going to put them 3 wide right here. So right there, makes the move. Goes into the middle here, goes 3 wide. Unfortunately for the 86 and the 98, they don't really have anyone coming with them. Looks like the 19 slides up to potentially try to help them right there, or trying to go for the race lead, but nonetheless they're tight down into corner number 3. Corner 3 is always a danger zone out there on the racetrack, and unfortunately when you get in there 3 wide, these cars get very loose. They get very out of control, and unfortunately contact before that kind of gets the 86 a little bent up. up. It got the 32 a little slideways right there. As he comes back up into the 86 ride. The 86 trying to just keep pointing the right direction. It looks like the 46 actually ends up getting a piece here of Mr. Hardy, and unfortunately, as he gets a piece of Dustin, it kind of just turns that 86 right around. Let's see if we can get a look at it here. So there's the contact there between the 32 and the 86. The 86 is trying to catch it, trying to save it. It kind of comes down. The 46 may have just came up ever so slightly, and it kind of just straightens that car out, comes back down the track into the 32, and that's where they all get tied together. Nowhere to go. Heavy damage there for Mike Corvu. Heavy damage for Nick Biddy, Blair Saunders. We see the 6. Ryan get a pretty big piece of the 54, and then we see the 27, a Brook over. He slideways. He gets some contact into it as we see the 27, the 17, and 7 tied together down low as the 86 up into the outside fence, and then teammates are right there still leaning on each other, just trying to make it out at core number 4 here. And unfortunately for that 76 ride of Zach Perry, as this kind of happens, just really nowhere for him to go. He's trying to get checked up, trying to stay out of it here. Kind of gets ran over right there from his teammate a little bit, still getting pushed here, and then they get bouncing off of each other and pushes them right up the track into that 86 ride. Heavy damage there for not only Zach Perry, but heavy damage as well for Dustin Hardy, and a lot of tore up race cars, a lot of drivers that are going to be down pit road again, looking to get some repairs, looking to try to get their cars fixed up. For Nick Biddy, that may have been game over for this 32 ride. We'll have to wait and see, as it doesn't look like he's got that quick repair. The crew is going to be going to work. Good news for the 51 Wyatt Mickelson. Going to give Mickelson an opportunity here to get some more work done to his race car. Obviously had that heavy damage from earlier and has slowly but surely worked away at it. Looks like they've got a new front fender onto that 51 ride, so the crew doing a pretty good job trying to fix this thing up. We saw Haller off the pace here. Still heavy damage to the front end of this 23. Look at the nose all crumpled up right there. Unfortunately, going to hurt his aerodynamics, his drive, and his pushing powers and everything else here this evening. But for Haller, he gets a great break, as that does give him the lucky dog, puts him back onto the lead lap. And for a driver like the 9 ride here, Benjamin Romano had just come down pit road a few laps prior to that caution flag, and now he will be able to stay on the lead lap, will not fall a lap down. And luckily enough for the 9 ride, he's even able to gain some positions as other drivers came down pit road. It allows him to slide up into the 16th position and has some pretty solid tires underneath his car, so feeling good out there on the racetrack now. As Anna says, let's go Matthew, show him how it's done. Cheered on Mr. Wood out there on the Speedway. Ronnie says, good evening, Peacemaker. He says, let's go Evan, push it. He says, way to capitalize, Evan. Yeah, you gotta capitalize when you can, and sometimes the best way to make moves, the best way to make passes out there on the racetrack is just to avoid the carnage, avoid the chaos out there on the Speedway. If you can avoid any of the big wrecks that we've seen, as that is now what, our 5th caution flag on the evening for racing incidents. I do believe that's our 5th, maybe even our 6th yellow flag for pretty solid wrecks out there, and we've seen a lot of tore up race cars here this evening. A lot of drivers, unfortunately, have been absolutely decimated here today, as Hardy Design says, just dumb. He says, just dumb. He says, yeah, unfortunately, here before the halfway marker, I feel there's a lot of drivers that are feeling that same way. Hardy Designs says, Mrs. Holler, how are you, Mrs. Holler? Says, Peacemaker does an amazing job. You can move up, Holler. Yeah, Holler, he can move up for certain. You tell him, Mrs. Holler, you tell him to move up. He's going to have a hard time at it, though. Still pretty solid damage here on that number 23 ride, and he's going to need to continue to come down pit road, try to get this work done, try to get it repaired. I'm not sure if he still has a quick repair in his back pocket. If he does, he may want to try to save that, keep it back there for later in the race. If he gets up in another big wreck, then he can have it to continue to keep on racing here this evening. But as of right now, definitely stuck in a tough spot. As here we go, back to green flag racing. We will stay single file for the restart once again, but we will not stay single file for very long, as the 77 of Brian Underwood gets shoved down into corner number 1. Let's see what the 19 ride of Jordan Fisher does. Does he tend to stay with them, or will we see that 91 of Liam Carlson, Caleb Sisk, or any of these other drivers try to jump up there? And it looks like Caden Gargiulo going to be the first one to make that move to the outside lane, and there goes Carlson in the 06. We saw them. It looked like they were going to try to make that move, and here they go. And look at that inside lane. Pretty broken up, and unfortunately, not a whole lot of push and help there. And for the 77 ride, Brian Underwood, he's going to just hope that there is a lot of horsepower under the hood of that 19 ride of Jordan Fisher to keep him rolling here at the front of the field as the laps continue to get clicked down. We get 2 more laps left to go here in stage number 2. Is stage number 2 going to end at the completion of lap number 40? So we got a couple laps left to go, and we see the caution flag come back out. So the caution flag will fly once again here this evening, and that one will for certain end our stage here this evening as well. Now, I'm not sure what this yellow flag was for, but we're going to say it was probably for the 74 ride here of Jaden Porter, and this is a driver that came into this race 20 points behind that final playoff position. He was 20 points shy of potentially putting himself into the playoffs here this year, and it looks like his dreams may come to an end right there as the 12 ride and the 74 get hooked together, and that's a big hit for him. And then another big hit for the 76 of Zach Perry. Perry gets into the driver's side door of that 74. Big wreck there for Jaden Porter, man, and that's a heartbreaker for him. Obviously, just trying to keep that car pointing the right direction. The 12 machine pushing him hard here down the front straightaway. They're not in the lead pack. They're just kind of hanging out back here, trying to make it to the end of the stage. See the 12 kind of move up, the 74 kind of move down, trying to stay hooked to that double yellow line. And I see the 12 right gets to the outside, and then I'm not sure if he just banks it down the track into the 74. If the 74 starts to lean up, either way, it kind of just hooks the 74 right. We'll get a great look at it right here. So the 74, he wants to get more down towards that double yellow line. The 12 right stays more in the middle of the track. He gets a great run here and then just kind of gets up into that right rear quarter panel of the 74, and it just hooks him up and into the outside fence, and that was a big hit there for Jaden Porter. The 12 right with some pretty solid damage there on that Dr. Pepper Burger King machine, and obviously as the 74 bounces off the wall, comes back down the racetrack. Look at Blair Saunders, gets a little piece of that one, but a big hit right there into that passenger side door for the 76 of Zach Perry, who just got tied up. And another wreck a couple laps ago, and looked like he potentially used that quick repair up, and that big hit may take him out of this race, as we do see Porter down pit side trying to get this car repaired, trying to get this thing fixed up and back out there onto the racetrack here. We'll see if the crew can get it done, if they can get him back out there, but it does look like he will probably go a lap down as we see the entire field come down pit side, being led by Liam Carlson. Carlson wins stage number 2 here this evening as he ends up blowing it through his pit stall right there. Goes a little too far, has to throw it in reverse. That is a big mistake out of that 91 ride, and we'll see who can beat everyone off of pit lane, as it looks like Jordan Fisher going to win the race off of pit road. Caleb Sisk, Caleb Haldeman, Ethan Greek going to come out in about that 4th position with Applegate, Jordan Hand, Caden Gargiulo, Zach Perry, and a bunch of these Burger King rides all coming out together. You see Brian Underwood all the way back in 12th, Stewart there in 13th. You take a look at our stage 2 winner, the 91 ride of Liam Carlson. Carlson all the way back in that 15th position, as that was a tough one right there, and obviously not the pit stop you want to have after winning the stage. Now going to be back deeper in the field, as we did see Blair Saunders and Jason Bogart. They stayed out here. They were down pit road during that last caution flag on lap 35, so they got their fuel and tires then. Obviously not too much damage to the 98 ride, so he sticks out there, and for a couple of those drivers, they will take the advantage of now getting the track position and being out in front. If you're the number 41 ride of Mr. Dylan Carrier, you kind of hate to see it, as Carrier was hoping to get a wave around or lucky dog or something there, and obviously he may be waiting a little bit longer, as we'll have to wait and see if he does get that wave around here this evening, as we did see the 12 ride of Brandon Eddington still down pit road. Looks like he's about to roll back out there. Brookover also down pit side. We still see Jaden Porter down pit road, so obviously that may take him out of this race. Dustin Hardy also down pit side. Looks like that car's repaired, but looks like he may keep it down pit road. Nick Biddy already done and out of this race, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. We'll get ready to set these drivers back loose here this evening, as man, been a rough go here today. Been a rough go. Been a rough go here. The Caution to Caution Racing Club. Oh gosh. Jimmy 6 times, settle down here, okay? We don't appreciate it when people talk bad about your league, so don't come talking bad about other people's leagues, okay, brother? Keep it, nice up there in the chat. Remove the 12 from the league for intentional. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Tough one to prove. Tough one to prove, that's for certain. And luckily enough, not my call. Not my decision, man. So I'm glad I don't have to be there for that conversation. That is for certain. But nonetheless, we will get ready to go back to green flag racing. Looks like we will double it up here for our final stage of the day. And we've seen how this one's went. We've seen how this double file has went here this evening. And we could be in for a bit of a chaotic restart once again. Hopefully we can see it stay clean and green here this evening, as we want to see some good hard green flag laps being laid down. We want to see some green flag pit stops and see how these drivers can handle having to come down pit side, if teammates can work together, or if they can all make it down pit road as one big group, or if they gotta try to split it up, and who's gonna be able to make the pit stops work the best and get kind of grouped together again in a quick fashion to be able to slide out in front, maybe get that big lead and big advantage to run away with this race. Or maybe we just see some more chaos here this evening. Still a lot of race cars rolling out there on the speedway, still a lot of sheet metal to crumple here, and a lot of cars to destroy this afternoon. So we'll have to wait and see how this one gets played out this evening. But if you guys have been enjoying the racing action so far here this evening, make sure you guys do us a favor, man. Hit that thumbs up button for us right now. Hit that like button on the stream if you're watching on Facebook, over on YouTube, over on Twitch. Hit the like button on the stream. Drop a comment or two. Let us know who you're cheering for, who you want to see up in victory lane. If you think, how many more caution flags we're going to have. Maybe we'll put up a poll here to see how many more yellow flags may come out here this evening. As here we go, back to green flag racing as the 98 of Blair Saunders in the 19 of Jordan Fisher getting a great launch right there. Outside lane did not fire off well. That may stack him up a little bit as everyone trying to shuffle around, trying to find their lane, trying to find an opening spot there on that inside group. Is unfortunate break there for Jason Bogart. Not the restart he was hoping for. Slides from position number 2 now all the way back to about the 10th spot on the racetrack. As they storm down and out of corner number 2, they're starting to build up all that speed and momentum. And you take a look here up inside the top 10, you start to see some of those Burger King rides making their cars up here at the front of the field here, starting to make their moves, as you do see that Strawberry Shake Burger King 34 ride trying to join the top 5. That is Aiden Lucas trying to get up there, trying to get a little hot and horny here at the front of the field, trying to put himself into a good position and potentially a race win here this evening, as there's a lot of pushing and shoving back here, a lot of drivers moving around. There's a lot of wiggle out there, as you do see the 18 ride. That is Mr. Noah Blackwell pushing that 14 ride of Mr. Mark Wynn Brewer. Almost got Brewer turned around there through that trial, but luckily enough, both drivers able to catch it. You do see that 51 ride of Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson came in only 20 points to the good here on our points and being able to claim that 12th and final transfer spot into our playoffs here on the season, as Wyatt's just trying to keep himself out of carnage, out of any more contact and damage out there. Already got tore up early in this race a couple times, had to come down pit road multiple times to try to work on that car, as now we see the milkshake ride up and into the outside fence. Everyone scatters, everyone trying to keep themselves out of it. They're down through the grass, including Mickelson here. Luckily enough, he's able to keep that car pointing the right direction. I don't believe we're going to see the caution flag. So no yellow flag, as everyone was able to keep it pointed in the right direction, but that was a big hit right there for that number 34 of Aiden Lucas. Let's play this one back. Let's take a look at it here. It's I'm not sure what happens, but you see that whole right in front just tore apart here, as he's got Brian Underwood on his back bumper. Underwood pushing him down in through corner number 3 and 4. I'm not sure if someone from down low comes up or if it's just a big push here to the back end, and that's exactly what it is. So that little bit of movement out of the 34, the little bit of movement out of the 77 ride, heading out of corner number 4 here. The cars already get very light on their rear ends coming out of this corner, and when you start to slide around, the 77 kind of comes up right there as the 34 trying to get straightened out. It kind of just gets some slideways there, and obviously as that contact happens, the push still on the back bumper of the 34, and it just shoves them right up and into the outside fence. Big hit there for him, and then you look at everybody else just scattering 3, 4, 5 wide, trying to keep themselves out of that carnage, and unfortunately You do see that heavy damage on this number 34 Ryan. He's going to come down pit side. He's going to need to get this thing fixed up. That whole right front just pointed the wrong direction. Absolutely tore to shreds. And unfortunately, it's taken him so long to get down pit road that will put him a lap down. You'll see the 41 Ryan coming back down pit side as well. That is Dylan Carrier, as we do see this main pack still tied together, still grouped up here pretty nicely, all the way back to Bogart. So about our top 18 drivers in this lead pack. And then there's a big gap all the way back here to the 06 of Caleb Sisk. That's where we see Brooke Over, the 46 of Koravu, the 38 of Keegan Huey, and James Jones back there in that second group. And then we see another group a little farther back being led by the 23 of Ryan Haller. Wyatt Mickelson, his teammate right there with him, the 12 right of Brandon Eddington there in position 26. And then we see Nick Jensen and the 81 of Jaden Browder back there in the 28th position, as Aiden Lucas now down pit side. Looks like he may be down there for an extended period of time. Dylan Carrier, he's been picking up some positions, but he scored back in the 30th spot right now, but should be able to maybe gain a spot or two off of Aiden Lucas down pit side. Jaden Porter still down there. Dustin Hardy and Nick Biddy done and out of this race. So we still got about 28, 29 drivers still rolling out there on the Speedway. They're obviously a little bit more broken up right now after that near caution flag, as Rodney says, settle down, fellas, settle down, he says. Ramrod, what's good, Ramrod? Says 1776, let's go. Cheering on all those 1776 rides here this evening. As out in front, though, it is the 98 of Blair Saunders. Saunders has that race lead here this evening. Jordan Fisher right there in second. Then we see Zach Clater in position number 3. Ethan Greek there in 4th, with Jordan Hand back in 5th. Noah Blackwell and Zach Perry back into this race. So Perry did have a quick repair still in his back pocket. Unfortunately, has used that now. Has to kind of keep that thing pointed in the right direction here, and cannot get tied up in another big wreck here this evening, or his night may be done. You see Jordan Hand right there making some big moves as he gets a little squirrely there off the nose of potentially Noah Blackwell's. Blackwell right up there in this hunt. You see the 3 right of Ethan Greek, and a lot of these drivers just trying to keep themselves out of trouble. But, man, trouble's been finding everybody here this evening. There's been a lot of chaos, a lot of tore-up race cars, and a lot of carnage here today, as Ethan Greek still rolling there in 4th. He was one of those drivers that came in quite a ways below the cut line. But if he can still just have a solid evening, maybe he can get lucky. Maybe he can leapfrog, that number 51 of Mr. Wyatt Mickelson. But Mickelson rolling there in 24th. I do believe that's all he's probably going to need to do to advance his way into our playoffs here this year. And for Jaden Porter, down pit road here, extended pit stop for him, more than likely the end of his playoff hopes here this evening. Came in 20 points shy of that final playoff position, now parked down pit side, probably not going to have a chance at that, may even lose the 13th position to that 3 machine at Ethan Greek. And definitely Ethan's been doing everything he can. He's been right up here inside the top 3, top 5 pretty much all evening long, except for when he got tied up in that one yellow flag. Had to come down pit side, had to get some repairs, got back out there, but has raced his way quickly back up here towards the front, and now shined a battle here, trying to get a great finish, doing everything he can, and hoping that the rest of the field runs into problems, or at least the other drivers that are in front of him, including Keegan Huey and that 51 of Wyatt Mickelson, have a bad day here at the Speedway, and enough that they fall farther and farther behind, where he can maybe leapfrog them and steal one of those final playoff spots here this evening. But Blair Saunders out in front. Here comes some lap traffic, as that is the 41 right at Dylan Carrier. Carrier unfortunately been trying to just race his way back onto the lead lap. Unfortunately has not worked out too well for him. He will fall another lap down right there, as there goes our field around the 41, and for Dylan Carrier, he will now fall, I do believe, about 3 laps down now on the racetrack, 3-4 laps down now. Oh, man, that's a tough spot to be for Dylan Carrier. I'm not sure what happened to him. We did see him down pit road there for an extended period of time. Didn't look like he had any damage or any issues with that race car, but was down pit side for quite a while. But he's looking to still have some fun here this evening. Hopefully we can see him catch the draft here, join this league group, and keep on duking it out here this evening, even though he is a bunch of laps down. Hopefully he can be up there for the fun. But it looks like things maybe a little bit more organized, maybe a little bit more cool, calm, and collected right now. Maybe the driver is not wanting to push the subject, knowing that there is still a lot of laps left to go. It's only 52 laps completed here this evening out of 80, so he's still got a lot of laps, a lot of racing here. 28 to go here in this race before we throw that checkered flag here this evening. But as of right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, if you haven't already, hit that like button on the stream, drop a comment, let us know who you're cheering for, as we want to see you guys cheer on your favorite drivers as we jump into our PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up. So we want you guys to crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League as we crank it up here on PeaceMaker Gaming. Contact, caution flag, one goes around and they pile in there. Oh! Caution flag here during our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. Matthew Wood gets turned. Yellow flag back in on the racetrack as a lot of drivers get collected, including the 41 of Dylan Carrier, that 37 ride of Mr. Evan Stewart. Unfortunately, a lot of others getting tore up and tied up out there on the speedways. The yellow flag flies once again here this evening. Pushing and shoving up towards the front. Obviously, things go astray, things go wrong, and all of a sudden we see a bunch of drivers get turned around and tore up out there on the speedway. Let's see if we can take a look here as Matthew Wood at the front of this outside lane here. Just looks like Applegate all over his back bumper. I'm not sure if Applegate tries to jump up out of line or what may have happened here, but nonetheless, you're going to see this right now as here comes that 57 pushing on the back bumper of the 16, and then finally gets to his outside right there and just kind of hooks him. Gets to the outside here. I'm not sure why he decided to keep pushing on that right side of the back bumper, but man, that is a tough one right there for Matthew Wood. Obviously, slowly but surely working his way up towards the front, been keeping that 16 ride clean all evening long. And even as he's getting shoved, the car itself is pushing up the racetrack as he's getting pushed up the speedway until Applegate gets virtually to that right rear quarter panel, tries to come back down to his back bumper. Obviously, he's to the outside of him at that point, hooks him, spins him around, puts him up into the outside fence, and Applegate bounces off the 3, Ethan Greek. You see the 16 bounce off the wall into the 37 of Evan Stewart, and all these other drivers get collected, including Joe David. Heavy hit there for David. Heavy hits for the 37. You see Caden Gargiulo and a couple of these other drivers also going to end up getting collected in it as well. So let's take another look here. There's the contact. Here comes all these other drivers sliding into it here, and a lot of them just getting absolutely tore up out there on the racetrack as we did take a look at a couple of these guys coming in there a little bit late. When you look at drivers like Caden Gargiulo here, Gargiulo's a little farther back in this, has to try to get checked up as he's checking up. 97 can't get onto the binders quick enough. Unfortunately, drives into the back end of him right there. We saw the 57 of Applegate still bouncing around here after he gets into Ethan Greek and a couple of these other drivers. He's going to just get pinballed around here, and so you see Romano in there. Then he gets hit by the 91 as Liam Carlson, our Stage 2 winner, gets tied up in it. He ends up with some pretty solid damage as well, and man, a lot of tore-up race cars again here this evening, man. That's a tough break as here we go. We're going to get them all down pit road, see who can get their cars fixed up, if everyone's got quick repairs still on, if they've got an opportunity to get their cars fixed, or if they're going to be down pit side for an extended period of time here this evening, as we do see Haller back down pit side. There's Matthew Wood. He's down into his pit stall trying to get his car repaired. Looks like he's trying to get into the pit stall. There it is. He does get it fixed up, so it looks like he had that quick repair. We'll be able to continue on this evening. Applegate down pit road, though. Stewart down pit side. Heavy damage for the AG's Designs HB Racing ride of Stewart here this evening. Brendan Eddington down pit side again. Aiden Lucas still down pit road. Jaden Porter still down pit road as see Carlson, a lot of these drivers take an extended period of time to be down pit side, trying to get their cars repaired. If not, trying to save a quick repair for later in this race. But nonetheless, we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing as, dang, that 57 Austin Hildum. Yeah, definitely a little Austin Hildum right there. That is for certain. That is for certain as our designs has come on. Fisher, Jones, and Saunders. Jimmy 6 times says, typical Applegate. Typical Applegate. My bad. That wasn't my fault, right? That wasn't my fault, right? If it wasn't my fault, I didn't mean to. I couldn't do anything. I don't know if that's typical Applegate or not, but I could see it. I could see it. As dang, yeah, definitely Austin Hildum. Oh, look, Hardy Designs, the salty ass account that couldn't hang in PSCRL. All right, Jimmy 6 times, brother. You just gotta calm it down a little bit. You just gotta calm it down a little bit, brother. Okay, because you're just gonna get timed out here for the next 30 minutes. God damn, Josh. I told you 3 times, brother, to quit talking shit. Jesus. Jesus. Sometimes, man, sometimes you just gotta give him that timeout, man. No one goes into his streams, into his broadcasts, and talks like that. So there's no point in coming into someone else's and doing the same thing. Just needs to bite his tongue. Some things are better left unsaid as we're going to get ready to get these guys going back. Green flag racing. We're going to get ready to go back to battle here in this one as Jordan Fisher out in front of the field here has the race lead. Ethan Greek there in position number 2. Noah Blackwell in third with Brian Underwood in position number 4. Blair Saunders back in position number 5 with Jason Bogart there in 6. Then we see that 76 rider Zach Perry, Caleb Holloman there in 8th. We see the 14 ride, Marquin Brewer back up inside the top 10, rolling there in the 9th position. Caden Gargiulo there to his outside. And we see Caleb Sisk, Zach Clater, Mike Coravu, Joe David, James Jones there in 15th. And we see Wyatt Mickelson, Keegan Huey, Jaden Browder, Matthew Wood all the way back here in about that 20th position. Has Benjamin Romano down to his inside. Brookover, Applegate, Liam Carlson, Ryan Haller, Brandon Eddington, Nick Jensen, Jordan Hand, Evan Stewart rounding out our top 28. Unfortunately for Evan, he is quite a ways back here. He's got to catch up to the lead pack. Unfortunately, does not look like he will get there as we are back to green flag racing. And unfortunately for Evan Stewart, he is just going down through quarter 3 and 4 right now as our race leaders are seeing the green flag fly and they're ready to rumble here once again as 62 laps completed. 18 laps left to go. Is that the right math? That is the right math. 18 laps left to go here this evening as we'll quickly jump back into our PeaceMaker Gaming, crank it up here for the next couple of minutes, and we'll get ready to see how this one plays out. Obviously, laps have counted down. There is no holding back at this point, and now we do see the 3-rider Ethan Greek go for a slide down through the infield. Greek goes for a big slide right there. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green as he's down off the racing surface. Heartbreaker there for Ethan Greek, having such a great run, having such a great drive here this evening, and obviously a big push here coming to his back bumper. Let's take a quick look at it, see what happens as he's got the 18 rider Noah Blackwell pushing him here down the backstretch to kind of get log jammed as he reaches the back bumper of the 19 and then just gets a little squirrely with the 18 on his back end, and it just kind of hooks him around, sends him down into the infield. Unfortunately, that will put him back here deeper in the field and potentially out of this race, but nonetheless, we keep on battling as they keep on duking it out here at the front of the field as we'll be right back after a quick bathroom break, but we'll keep you guys going with a PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up. Alrighty, caution flag back out. Caution flag back out here. That is going to end our PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up here this evening as we will take another look back and see what happens, see where this kind of gets underway and where this carnage flies here again this evening as some more heavy hits, some more tough breaks out there on the racetrack, and a bunch of drivers again tore up out there on the speedway. A lot of tore up race cars, and it looks like that is the 06 ride, I do believe, of Caleb Sisk. Take a look here at Caleb Sisk here on the racetrack, see if we can get another angle at this one, a little bit better of a look at it. He's got Marquin Brewer on his back bumper, pushing him here, trying to get to the back bumper of the 19 ride, and again, just looks like he gets up the track. The 46 tries to go with him, and as he kind of gets up the track there, and the 46 going with him right there, just really gets him bent out of shape here. I don't think he realized that he'd get as loose or as light as he would moving up to the high side, and then obviously the 46 coming back up and across his nose kind of just hooks him down the track, bounces off the Right rear quarter panel to 19 and trying to save it, trying to keep it out of trouble. Then turns that wheel a little too hard, gets up into the outside fence, and as he's up into the wall, they're 3 wide back behind him. Everyone's trying to scatter and trying to keep themselves out of the carnage. You start to see the 27 ride of Nathan Brookover. That's where we're going to see Brookover lose the handle of his car. Bounces off the 14 right of Mark Wynn Brewer. Brewer nowhere to go. Bounces up and into the one machine of Jordan Hand. Brookover back up into him. Heavy hits there for both the 27, the 14, the 1 ride, and a big hit for Caleb Sisk as well, and more heavy hits out there on the racetrack, as hopefully these drivers are A-okay. By the sounds of it, they've all gotten out of their race cars and have all given the thumbs up here this evening, so they are okay. But man, that was a big hit right there for that 27 ride. That was almost Dale Earnhardt-esque right there for that 27 ride. That is not a good spot to have something like this happen. And that was a big hit for the Kodiak ride, as he's just trying to keep himself out of trouble. Maybe get a little hit right there. That's what gets him bent to the shape down into the 14. Then back up the track, and heavy hit there into that outside fence. It looks like Nick Jensen also going to get a piece of that one as well, as he gets in there into the back end of that 27 as he's spinning around. So a lot of tore up race cars, a lot more damage, and obviously a lot of cars going to be hurting down pit road here. Potentially some of them done for the evening, as they're going to be headed down pit side. They're going to be looking to get their cars repaired. There's that 39 of Zach Clater down pit road. Brandon Eddington down pit side. There's Ryan Haller still down pit road trying to get his car fixed up. Looks like Brookover will be down pit side here for a while. Caleb Sisk has taken his car off the racetrack. We still see Aiden Lucas and Porter done and out of this race as well, still down pit side. So we'll get them all ready to roll here once again as Caden Gargiulo out in front of the field here, leading the way here in this one. Noah Blackwell there in second, as, man, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, as Brian says Hardy Designs, they race Saturday night. Yeah, they do race Saturday night, as Bill Fisher says Anna. Yes to Anna there. Bones does coming in. Fingers crossed. Let's go. As 4 wide was too much. Yeah, sometimes 4 wide gets a little bit wild out there. Obviously, it takes up a lot of room, and the rubbing and the racing gets a little too tight for a lot of drivers to try to hang on. But nonetheless, we'll keep them going here as Lawrence Hennessy, hopefully I'm saying that right, probably getting it completely wrong, but says, I hope Nathan is okay. He's okay, isn't he? He is okay. Time out for bad boys. I'm not a bad boy. Brian, it's short track. It's joke track, unfortunately. I don't think Dylan is winning tonight. Brian's definitely not winning tonight. Unfortunately, Brian's not winning, that's for certain. Well, I don't know. Dylan might be able to bounce back. Enough of these caution flags. Maybe he gets enough wave arounds and Lucky Dogs back on the lead lap. That is for certain, as there's no sense in acting like he did. We enjoyed the race and the having fun. Some people are just miserable and don't know how to enjoy anything. Yep. Okay, well, chat, y'all need to y'all need to just relax. Chat, y'all just need to relax, okay? Just calm down, dang it. Yeah, definitely came out of the gate firing, and I don't know who that is. So I'm assuming it's probably a fake account from Jimmy 6 Times, more than likely, but who knows? I can't prove it. No one can prove it, but nonetheless, Brian says, is it the car, or are they racing on a short track? Laugh out loud. It seems like it'd be a short track. It seems like with the amount of caution flags that this would be a Bristol race or something, right? Obviously, most of the time we don't have this abundance of yellows at a super speedway, but nonetheless, I mean, they do happen. I've been here before. They've definitely happened in other leagues. Sometimes they just do not go to plan, and sometimes things just go astray, and once kind of that that seal is broken, the craziness kind of just continues throughout the evening, so you just never quite know how that's going to happen. As Seahawks Nate says, how is it that iRacing gives us better races than the in real life Next Gen. Yeah, in real life, Next Gen is dog water, and trust me, it can be here as well. It can be here as well for certain. In iRacing, the passing gets very, very tough, especially when you can start to dump some dirty airs on guys, on cars and everything else. Definitely can make it very, very tough. But these guys, obviously, the carnage and the wrecking and the door-to-door racing seems to be a little bit better here on Super Speedway. Seems like the Next Gen in real life can also produce that kind of good racing on a Super Speedway as well. But when it comes to our 1.5 miles or 2 mile racetracks, definitely tough. But here we go. Caden Gargiulo out in front. Caden leading the way, but here comes that 19 ride. Big shove to his back bumper. That is Blair Saunders trying to push Jordan Fisher to the front of the field, and it looks like Fisher out of corner number 4 may snake away with that race lead as you see them starting to spread out back there deeper in the field. 9 ride. Actually, that's the 16 of Matthew Wood, kind of right down the middle right there. Matthew trying to work his way back up towards the front of the field here, trying to make some moves. Unfortunately, kind of just stuck right in the middle there, but does find a hole, able to slide up in front of Liam Carlson. Carlson will let him in there, will not push that subject, but now he's going to look to try to push Matthew Wood maybe back up towards the front here. Matthew, one of the best competitors out there on the racetrack, has the most wins on the season, has been locked into our playoffs for multiple weeks here, and he's looking to try to get another one here this evening, trying to keep himself sitting up here pretty at the front of the field. As Jordan Fisher out in front leading the way. Blair Saunders though leaves his back bumper, jumps down to the inside lane, so now they have control of that front row. So Fisher and Saunders door to door down across the line. Looks like Saunders will lead that lap as Caden Gargiulo going to push him right to the front of the pack here. Here comes that 46 of Mike Corvu. Corvu looking to have a very strong here. He's been having a pretty strong race all evening long, but hoping to have a strong finish. Same with that 18 ride, Noah Blackwell. Is Blackwell right there in position number 4 and looking for more here in this one. Joe David back there in 5th. Underwood there in 6th. Then we see Jaden Browder. Browder making his way up towards the front. We saw this 81 ride get caught up in a wreck early this evening. Kind of went to the back of the pack and has just got hung out there. Same with that 51 of Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson came into this race knowing that he was potentially going to be one of those drivers that could lock his way into the playoffs or potentially miss out on the playoffs here this evening. Ran into early issues, had some early problems. It was not looking good for that Caterpillar 51 ride. But late in this race, able to get that car repaired, just kept sticking with it, kept his foot in that throttle, and able to rebound here pretty nicely, and now duking it out just inside our top 10 as they battle down the back straightaway here at Daytona International Speedway. It is Keegan Huey right there with him in that 38 ride. Another one of those drivers that just came in above the cut line here this evening. Has been having pretty much a quiet evening in that Burger King ride as he kind of hung out at the back of the pack. We saw a lot of those Burger King rides back there for quite a while, just kind of keeping themselves out of the carnage, keeping themselves out of that damage. But here late in the evening, trying to make some moves, and right there almost to his outside, trying to make some moves was one of our lap down drivers. Here he comes again. It's the 41 ride of Dylan Carrier looking to try to make this a 3-wide race, and it's Matthew Wood who's trying to go with him here. Wood says, you know, I got to start making some moves. I want to race my way to the front of the field here, and if this is the way we got to do it, we got to do it. We got to go to that outside lane here this evening, but right now there's a lot of movement. You may just want to hang back and kind of let this race come to you. Allow the carnage to unfold up there in front of you, but they say there is no time for waiting as here they go to the outside. Does anyone help him out as there's contact back behind him? Look at the 54 ride. Hard contact up into the outside fence for James Jones. Heavy hit right there for Jones. He'll take that car right down pit side. No caution flag on the racetrack. No yellow flag. We keep it clean and green as everyone is able to keep it pointed the right direction. Let's play this back quickly and see what happens. So the 91 kind of comes up the track right there, and unfortunately Liam Carlson just leaking up the speedway. Not sure if it's net code or a contact nonetheless with the 54, and obviously just gets this 54 ride sideways over the nose of the 91. Gets pushed back up the track, hard hit into that outside fence. Heavy damage there for him. Everyone else though doing a great job, able to avoid him and keep on battling here this evening. As we continue to stay 3 wide, you do see that 37 to Evan Stewart. Stewart's looking to the outside lane. He may want to try that 3 wide racing here, trying to poke his nose up there, and now you do see it looks like Jordan Fisher Fisher's going to get shoved up into that third lane as well. So some big moves, and Fisher ends up into that third lane. And here comes that 41 rider, Dylan Carrier, and the 16 of Matthew Wood. They are right there as 3 wide. Sometimes gets a little bit too hairy and gets very scary as they're leaning on each other down and out of corner number 2. Oh, baby, it's on like Donkey Kong. Can that outside lane get things going? Can they keep up with that 2 inside lanes here this evening? We'll have to wait and see if anyone tries to jump up and join them. Doesn't look like they're moving too far forward right now. Down the back straightaway, it looked like they had a bunch of power and a bunch of momentum. Unfortunately, not going to play out in their favor. And for Fisher, he slides all the way back here into about the 17th position as Matthew Wood right there with him. Matthew still trying to get that outside lane roll, and he wants that third lane. He knows that if he wants to try to win this race, he can't do it from way back here in the 9th, 10th row on the racetrack. So he needs to make some moves here if he wants to try to find his way up and into victory lane, as Brian Underwood does have that race lead. Underwood out in front. Blair Saunders there in second. Mike Corvu back in position number 3 with Caden Gargiulo and Noah Blackwell rounding out our top 5. It's still anybody's race. There's still quite a few laps left to go here, and anything can happen at any moment. As now we see Bogart up into the outside fence. Bogart gets shoved up the racetrack, bounces off the outside wall. Heavy hit there for him. No caution flag, but now we do see another driver turn sideways. That is that 57 of Applegate, and the caution flag will fly. So the yellow flag comes out late in this race. And oh, baby, you guys thought it was crazy throughout this race. You guys thought it was crazy there for the last 10 laps or so. It's going to get absolutely wild here. The closing laps and going into NASCAR overtime here at Daytona International Speedway is surely going to make things that much more wild. Let's take a look back here. They're 3-4 wide right here, trying to get through corner number 4. There's contact here. In the 57, the 91, they get tied together. That was roughly at the same time that we saw that 17 ride kind of going backwards here. So that's kind of what started all this issue was Bogart. Bogart, I don't know if he gets loose or if he gets shoved. I'm assuming he's going to get shoved here. And Bogart goes up the track into the outside fence, and that kind of just busts things wide open. Seemed like we were kind of cool, calm, and collective, under control right there, and its teammates here just kind of getting log jammed right there. So the 76 gets into the back end of the 17, 97 gets in the back of the 76, and it just kind of keeps on pushing that 17 up the track until finally he's up into the outside fence. And then as that happens, they go from 2 wide to all of a sudden running 3, 4, 5 wide out there on the racetrack. Liam Carlson kind of like right in the middle of it here as a bunch of these drivers see the 38, the 97, they get tied together. They're all trying to make it through there, and for the 91, he ends up poking his nose right into the middle of it here, making it about 4 wide here, trying to get through corner number 4. Hooks the 38 right around. He then gets hooked around from the 57 of Applegate. Nowhere to go there for Ethan Greek, and then all these other drivers just kind of sitting there, nowhere to go. Look at the 37 right at Evan Stewart, hoping to try to stay out of that one, and unfortunately it does look like he gets a little bit of contact into the 57 ride. Maybe gets a little contact off the 41 as well, but nonetheless that does bring us the caution flag here once again. So another big hit, another big issue, and another caution flag here this evening for us to get them all stacked up, get them all racked up, and ready to try to go back to green flag racing. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to try to make some moves, who's going to be able to find their way up and into victory lane. Let's see if we can get our... let's see if we can find some of these drivers to try to get in here that are up towards the front of the field. They're all kind of a little broken up. Let's see if we can get this 77 of Brian Underwood up here into the booth. Hey, Brian, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Brian, man, some craziness here this evening. A lot of, big hits, big wrecks out there. A lot of carnage out on the racetrack. And now, late in this race, headed to NASCAR overtime. You're at the front of the field here. Is this the place you want to be? How you feeling out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to pass. So once you get those cars all bound up on the inside, outside, and then they like to take all the lanes like they're drunk or something. But I definitely want to be in the first 2 rows. I feel like that's the best opportunity. Leading, I've never had the greatest luck. I'm going to just hold my line and see what happens. And hopefully we have no green, white checkers. I like to have one and done. And But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to be up there and having to try to hit these restarts numerous times to keep these drivers back there at bay, as it's going to get pretty crazy here for quite a while. You know, you got the 46 ride who's going to be on your back bumper there, Mike Corriveau. You got a couple of other fast cats around you. You know, what's the game plan? You're just going to hope that the 46 ride pushes you to the end, or are you going to try to slide around if you get clear, maybe jumps to the outside lane? What's going through your mind right now coming to that green flag?
Yeah, I'm just see who goes in what lane. I want to kind of stay away from a couple of them. Just I don't know if it's manufacturer or what it is when I get pushed by them, but it just seems to not work out. So I'm gonna just hopefully come out in the lead off of turn 2, and then just kind of see what happens after that point.
Absolutely. Well, good luck out there. Have some fun, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the booth in just a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, there you go. Our race leader, Brian Underwood, getting ready to see this green flag fly in just a couple more moments as they head down the back straightaway, and it seems like it's a little bit of the calm before the storm here. It is about to be a tornado in Daytona. There's a lot of trailers down that infield, so you know it's about to brew here this evening as Underwood out in front. He'll have Blair Saunders to his outside. Mike Corriveau, Noah Blackwell, they're in position number 4 as each and every one of these drivers will be looking to try to use their positioning to try to put themselves into victory lane. But do we see somebody from outside the first 2 rows find their way into victory lane? Could it be Caden Gargiulo? Could it be Joe David's Knight to find their way into victory lane? Potentially Jordan Hand back there in that 7th position. Zach Perry, who's had a very up and down evening, could he find his way into victory lane? Jaden Browder, or potentially that 51 rider Wyatt Mickelson, who's looking to be potentially one of those drivers to be the last to luck his way into our playoffs here this evening, as we should be able to get these guys rocking and rolling here this evening, as there's one common denominator here, chat. There's one common denominator. Jesus. Some people, man, I gotta say, as here we go, back to green flag racing. The 77 of Underwood sees that green flag fly as Brian able to put his throttle down and Corriveau going with him here nicely. They don't make a move as of yet. He's hoping that they stay in line as the 98 of Blair Saunders did not get a good restart. Did not fire off well, and unfortunately they continue to slide backwards, and now he's trying to find a hole here on that inside lane as he does squeeze right in behind Noah Blackwell there in that 6th position. Will that help him? Will that hurt him? Will we see some more drivers make some moves? Yes, we will. Here comes Caden Gargiulo as Gargiulo jumps to the outside lane. He's getting shoved by Jordan Hand. Now Hand will leave him high and dry as he'll jump down to the inside. So Jordan Hand jumps down low, and here we go. Back to the front straightaway. Can we make it to the white flag? Is the 3rd lane trying to get brewing here with Jordan Fisher leading the way in the outside groove? As we do see that white flag fly. Next flag will end this race no matter what here this evening, as Jordan Hand has the race lead. It's Underwood there in 2nd. They're starting to wreck back there behind him. Fisher, Wood, oh baby, there's a big one back here brewing out of corner number 2. A bunch of drivers tied up, but we're still gonna race back to the start finish line, as out in front it's Jordan Hand leading the way with Brian Underwood, Mike Corriveau, Blair Saunders, and Jaden Browder rounding out our top 5. Who's got the run? Here comes Perry to the outside, hoping that he can find the groove. Is a big block into the number 1 ride. Oh baby, hands up into the wall. Blair Saunders down low. Looks like Saunders is going to get it done. Blair Saunders picks up the win here this evening with Jaden Browder there in 2nd, and Caden Gargiulo going to come home in position number 3. Zach Perry back in 4th. Noah Blackwell in 5th. Wyatt Mickelson coming home in 6th. That should be enough for him to lock his way into our playoffs here this evening. So that is a great run for Wyatt Mickelson. He will be a part of our 12-car playoffs here this year for the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League, but it's all Blair Saunders as Blair gets it done and puts himself up and into victory lane here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's see some congratulations up in the chat here this evening as Blair gets it done and parks that 98 up and into victory lane. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys enjoyed this racing action here this evening, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up on the broadcast right now. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the PeaceMaker family. As here we go, we're going to see this 98 ride burn down the house as he picks up the checkered flag here at Daytona International Speedway in the World Center of Racing. It is, oh man, it is such a historic racetrack, and be able to finally capture a victory here for that 98 ride of Blair Saunders in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. This one is going to feel very, very good for him, man. That was a hell of a run, heck of a drive here this evening for Blair. He was up in that battle all evening long for Jaden Browder to battle back and Caden Gargiulo after early issues and put themselves up inside the podium here this evening as well. Hell of a drive. This pretty much throughout the field with how many caution flags and how many cars we saw tore up and tied up in wrecks here this evening. That's kind of the theory and pretty much the storyline throughout the field is comebacks, redemption, battling back here this evening and just surviving some of the late race chaos out there on the speedway. Others not so lucky, as we did see a lot of drivers who ended up getting tore up, ended up running into problems here late in this race. And we're going to go back and take a look at them, as there was a lot going on. There was a lot of carnage, and it started right after we got our white flag here this evening. So let's take a look at it, see what happens. As man, there was a lot of tore up race cars back here as they were three wide battling down here to that white flag, and this is where things just kind of get a little bit crazy. Three wide, nice and easy through the tri-oval, and then down into corner number 1 and 2. This is where things kind of get a little bit out of control. We're going to see drivers like Jordan Fisher here and a bunch of others get tied up, as you do see Joe David right here. Looks like David in that outside of the third lane, the 6 ride, getting shoved here by Jordan Fisher and the 16 of Matthew Wood. Looks like maybe he just gets a little bit loose contact between him and the 7 ride, and it just kind of stacks them all up, and then everyone just piling in there, nowhere to go. Keegan Huey tied up in it, as well as Nick Jensen. Heavy damage there for a lot of drivers, but they're able to kind of bounce through it. Some of them able to keep on rolling and keep on battling here this evening, as Jordan Hand has that race lead. The 77 of Ryan Underwood right there on his back bumper. The 46 right of Mike Corvu's there as well. Now they're battling back here, and you look at the 77 of Underwood. Underwood goes to make the move, looks to try to get to the outside here of Jordan Hand. Looks like Hand's going to throw a big block right there a little bit late. It bounces him and the 77 off the outside fence. 77 bounces off the wall across the nose here of Mike Corvu. Corvu honestly turned around. The 77 ride, really nowhere for him to go, but it opens up the path for the 98 ride just to squeeze right on through, able to keep their foot in the throttle. You see the 81 and the 7 ride following into that one. If this was Talladega, potentially the 7 ride of Caden Gargiulo may have been able to win this race, but being Daytona, the 98 ride, first driver across the line and the first driver up and into victory lane here this evening, as we'll get ready to pull him and the rest of the field up here into the broadcast. Well, not the rest of the field, the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here this evening for their post-race interviews. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Blair Saunders, as Saunders gets it done and puts himself up and into victory lane. Hey Blair, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yeah, sure do.
Blair, man, heck of a run, hell of a drive here this evening, man. Honestly, a lot of chaos, a lot of carnage out there on the speedway, and with all the action happening lap after lap after lap and all the yellow flags, you got kind of tied up in a few of them, kind of got bounced around there for a little bit. We saw you up towards the front and a little bit deeper in the field, and just like everybody else, man, an up and down day. But late in this race, you're kind of right in the right place at the right time. Obviously, pushing back there and about that 4th position. Then you see our race leader start to make some moves. You just kind of hold true in that middle groove, and all of a sudden, you see the C's part as they all make contact. You see the 1, the 77 up and into the fence. The 1 goes over the nose of Mike Corvu, and you're able to slide right on through and into victory lane here this evening, man. Take us back through it. And what's going through your mind is you get to celebrate here this evening with a big win in our regular season finale here at Daytona.
Yeah, no, it was I was sitting there with 1 to go, sitting there thinking, oh, 4th place, got to run on the outside. I didn't feel like I could go anywhere. And like you said, yeah, the seas just kind of parted, and I was there when I needed to, and it felt really good. Just happy to get a win here. Been racing for like half the season, so finally getting a win under my belt just feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to finally punch through, pick up a checkered flag. We've seen you have a lot of good speed, not the luck that you would hope for throughout the amount of races that you've ran. But here tonight, the luck kind of all came back to you, kept you alive, kept you out of late race trouble, and you find your way up into victory lane, man. But take us through, obviously, that green-white checkered. There's a lot of cars, there's a lot of chaos, and everyone's trying to battle their way up to the front of the field. What was kind of going through your mind right there? Were you just kind of locked in and settled in for a solid top 5, top 10 run? Did you think that the victory was potentially in your grasp?
No, starting on that side, I just had that really bad start there at the green white checkered, and at that point, after dropping to about fourth or fifth, I kind of was fine with just getting where I finished. So I just felt like I ran pretty well. Me and Fisher were working together a lot during that middle part of the race. So I'm overjoyed with how it all turned out.
Yeah, absolutely. Turned out very well for you here tonight as you're able to slide up into victory lane here at Daytona International Speedway. Blair, who would you like to thank for a big win here this evening in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League?
Absolutely. All the, Fisher, James Jones, Hardy, everybody with HBR, all my boys, Western, Chessie, Joseph for sitting there DMing me the whole time, whether or not I had damage. And then shout out Emily, who was watching. And then that was just, shout out everybody that watched and supports me and everything like that. It means a lot.
Absolutely, brother. Well, it was a heck of a run and a hell of a drive here this evening. Congratulations on picking up the checkered flag here this evening. And now we have the playoffs underway. And obviously, you can play spoiler here to a lot of these drivers' hopes and dreams of being able to win some races in these playoffs, trying to maximize their points on the evening. But you can jump up there, play spoiler, maybe pick up a couple more wins and seal some extra points away from some of our playoff performers here this season, man. Do you think you're going to be able to get it done here on a couple more races on the year?
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting more and more speed every week. It's tough just not being able to get to the playoffs, but there's always next season, and I'm just enjoying riding around with this group of guys and everybody I've met so far through Wheel to Wheel. So I'm just really excited to, keep racing and try to get some more speed some of these other tracks.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we look forward to seeing you back out there on the racetrack next Sunday night and potentially right back up here into victory lane.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night and don't party too hard down there in victory lane.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Blair Saunders. As Saunders picks up the checkered flag, pulls that number 98 right up and into victory lane here this evening. Now, it doesn't look like we have our second place driver, Jaden Browder, in the Discord right now. We'll have to wait and see if he joins the waiting room or if we can get him up here into the booth for his post-race interview. Nonetheless, we will give him a quick shout out. Heck of a run, heck of a battle back. We saw him early on get tied up in one of our first caution flags on the day. Ever since that yellow flag, he kind of just went to the back of the pack. Hung out there for quite a while till late in this race. Slowly but surely navigated his way up inside the top 10, then into the top 5 there late in the run. And then obviously, right place, right time. Him and Blair Saunders able to just work their way right on through the spinning 77, the car in the outside fence, the 46 going down onto the apron there. And they're able to go right on through, carry that momentum, and Jaden comes home in a solid second place run. But behind him, if this was Talladega, Caden Gargiulo may have had a shot. He was coming with a big head of steam, was not letting off the throttle, coming to that checkered flag, and he was going to roll right on through any of the carnage that was there, trying to pick up a solid finish, and it plays out nicely for him. No carnage for him, but he's able to slide up and into that third position here this evening as we'll get ready to pull Caden up and into the booth here this evening for his third place run here today. Hey, Caden, it's Aaron up here at the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir.
Caden, man, a crazy, crazy night here, obviously, this evening with the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. But, man, there was a lot of ups and downs for everybody. And then late in this race, here you are, steamrolling your way back up to the front, trying to keep yourself out of some of that late race carnage. And, obviously, right there at the end, being able to snake through it, being able to work yourself up and into that third position. We talked about it here before pulling in. If this was Talladega, you may have had a shot to win this race as you were coming with a big head of steam down to that start-finish line. Almost stole second away from Jaden Browder, but you were able to just come home in that third position here this evening, man. Take us back through it. What's going to go through your mind right now is get to join us up here in the booth.
Yeah, I did my typical start in the back like I always do, and it worked out again. Had to use my fast repair real early, though. I think it was like lap 17. So that whole race, I was just holding on, hoping that I wasn't going to get wrecked. And, try to help my teammates out. Stuff happened there. So just end up front on my own, and hey, we did it.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely did it. You were able to keep yourself rolling and keeping yourself out of some of the, destruction here this evening, as there was a lot of tore up race cars, a lot of caution flags, man. Take us through some of your thoughts. Obviously, this race being so many yellows and so many incidents out there, how do you keep focus? How do you keep yourself in the game and trying to not only help yourself, but as you said, your teammates as well, to stay alive and stay in the action here this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm out of the playoff picture, unfortunately. Kind of did that to myself by not showing up last week. But coming through the race, the first two stages, I was just kind of, do what I can. If I get points, cool. If not, I'm not worried about it. Then after that, it was link up with my teammates. If it went green all the way, our plan was to pit all four of us together, separate from the whole pack, get in line and just truck it and hope that we could gap the field. Obviously, that didn't happen with the caution on 58 or 59, whatever it was. But after that caution, I got a nice run and was able to get myself up to the front and kind of held up there for the rest of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to keep yourself up there, trying to keep yourself out of that carnage. And luckily enough, you avoid the late race incidents and you slide yourself up here into third. Caden, who would you like to thank for another solid run, another great effort here this evening in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League?
As always, got to thank Team Watson Racing Setups and the guys over at Golden Guardian Autosport. The guys, again, have helped me so much. And then, of course, tonight, my 1776 teammates, while we weren't necessarily together the whole race, what we were together for worked out. Congrats to Zach Perry on his fourth place finish. Just missed out on the interview tonight, but, he's already had one this season, so. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Beauty. Well, Caden, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother. Congrats on the third place finish, and hopefully next week with a few less caution flags, a little less drama out there on the racetrack, hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
Beauty. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Caden Gargiulo, as Gargiulo comes home in position number 3 here this evening. As, man, what a run, what a drive, what a performance here as all these drivers, man, putting on a heck of a show. As Cal Bucks says, the commentator is great. I appreciate that, Cal Bucks, showing the love here in this one. And it says, good race. Guys, it was awesome. It was definitely awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Some craziness out there. Bones does says good night, y'all. Congrats as well to our race winner, Blair Saunders there. Huge shout out there. Jimmy 6 times says good race. Jimmy 6 times, brother. I hope you got the message. But Mr. Huey says that race sucked. Absolutely stupid. Yeah, definitely turned out the wrong way for Mr. Huey here this evening. Obviously trying to just keep himself alive and hoping to keep that final playoff position, or one of our final playoff positions. Came home in 23rd. Luckily enough, one of the drivers that was battling back behind him, and Jaden Porter came home 31st, so he should be clear and should be one of our 12 drivers in the playoffs here this season. Him and Wyatt Mickelson should punch their tickets through and should be a part of our playoffs starting next Sunday night. But the craziness here in Daytona has come to a close. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in with the likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you. As Cheesy says, Blair, my goat. Blair, the goat. Blair, definitely the goat here tonight, putting himself up and into victory lane. Definitely the goat out there on the racetrack as he's able to pick up tonight's checkered flag. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in here this evening. As I said, man, all the likes, the comments, the shares, we appreciate each and every single one of you. If you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor of dropping a comment or two on the broadcast. Even if we're no longer live, jump into that comment section. Let us know what you thought of the broadcast here this evening. And make sure you hit that like button on the stream as well. If you haven't, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. If you're watching over on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, make sure you become part of the PeaceMaker family here today, and hopefully we'll see you guys back up here in the grandstands cheering on our drivers tomorrow night as we got some playoff racing in our truck series tomorrow evening, so that's going to get very, very exciting, going to get very wild in a quick hurry there as well. So hopefully we see you guys back in our broadcast here tomorrow night for some more amazing racing. But thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love, and we'll see y'all back here in the next one. Peace out, champ. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! What a run, what a race, what a show.
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags, wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags, wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, added flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags, wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay crazy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt, every lap closer. The tires eating dirt, PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave, dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.